back. It's Nina.
And Ashley here with the bullshit.
And this is the Young and Gettin It podcast.
Turn up.
I'm so excited to be back. We're doing this shit again. And as you guys can hear, we're in crystal clear clarity. You hear that?
It took a while to get here.
You hear that shit?
Every time there's a problem.
Okay. Technical difficulties, but since we're young and getting it, we're young and we got it.
Yep, young and troubleshooting.
Okay. Troubleshooting like crazy. So, today we're back. We're back with another young hustler.
You can hear our guest a little bit laughing
Yeah.
at us and our stupidity. She witnessed it all.
Yeah, we were wilding. We were taking pictures. You guys will see that in our
Ring
post.
light
I
in
will
full
vlog them.
effect.
Yeah, we're lit. We're turned. We got the coffee. That's all you need.
Yeah.
Fuck drugs, guys. Drink coffee. It got a little bit of cocaine in it.
Hey, it's a derivative.
It's a derivative. You know sugar is a derivative of cocaine also.
Oh, that's why there's a
That's why it's addicting. It's
Makes
cocaine.
sense. Makes sense.
It's drugs.
All right, well, let's get into introducing our guest. We have Miss Amauche with us today.
Hello.
Hey, boo. Looking fab.
Thanks.
So, go ahead and give the audience your background. How you got to where you are today.
So, as I said before, my name is Amauche. Right now, I am working as a medical social worker. Basically, what that means is you are a social worker working in an inpatient or outpatient setting. Mine is inpatient, so I work inside of a hospital. How I got here is I, did the normal high school, then I went through to undergrad, and then I got my master's, and I am currently working on getting my LCSW, which is
Okay, I was like, what is that? I don't know what that is. You gotta explain.
I just know that's something that's going to be more work.
Right? Like, I know my specialty, but
Yeah.
that's yours.
So an LCSW, basically what that is, the long name for it is a licensed clinical social worker.
Okay.
And that essentially opens up,
Official as
Licensed and shit.
yeah, I gotta take a board exam and everything.
Oh shit. I just took one of those. I was so stressed.
Yeah, not excited.
And it's expensive too. So
Yeah.
I better pass the first time.
Yeah.
Like,
Right? I was like, there's no way I'm failing.
No.
$700 and auto.
Yeah.
no.
And I gotta rake up hours. It's something like 32,000 hours.
Girl,
or something
I
like
had
that.
to get hours too.
32,000.
It's something crazy. All I know is it boils down to it's gonna take me 2 years just to get my hours. Like 2 years. So we get in there.
Stay committed, boo.
But basically what that does is it essentially opens up more doors for me. It allows me to, if I want, I can open my own private practice.
Okay, we like that.
You know?
We like that.
Being my own boss, you feel me?
Right?
So it allows things like that. Of course, you get into a whole nother pay grade. But
I really like that. Let's take a little pause. That's what it's really
Y'all heard what
about.
she said. We trying to pretend like it ain't about the money.
yeah, but you know what it's about. You know.
I'm trying to buy some shoes. Shit. Get that hair.
For real.
Trying to get another wig.
No, for
I'm
real.
trying to get it. Make a collection.
Snatched.
Right?
My cousin has a wig collection. I'm getting there.
I'm trying to have heads.
Lined
Just
up in
lined up.
the
Heads and then purses and then shoes.
I'm getting there. I'm working on it.
Okay, because as you'll see in this YouTube video, we're in her house because she got her own place.
Her own shit.
Holla.
She don't need you to buy nothing for
She
her,
don't need
but
it.
she'll accept it.
Okay. Handouts.
Don't need it. I like it.
I'll take it.
Exactly.
All right. Sorry, we cutting you off on stuff.
Yeah, sorry.
We're like money.
Right? Like we heard money. We're like, all right, we like that.
I mean, hey,
y'all like money
like,
too.
why would I be?
Yeah.
But yeah, so it definitely opens up a whole new pay grade. But it's kind of nice because it just really, the good thing about social work is a lot of people say you can wear multiple hats. And
Yeah.
it's true. You can go into social work and you can go the legal route, or you can go social work and you can go the governmental route where you're doing like lobbying, like you're doing all
Yeah,
kinds
I
of
didn't even know that. Like,
Yeah.
I thought like social work was always in a hospital or with like people that have custody battles with their kids.
See,
like,
that
yeah.
was my whole thing. I was fearful of being a social worker because I was not trying to be a baby snatcher. Like,
Girl.
just saying.
Nah, for real.
Like, high
my
key.
heart couldn't do
No,
it.
high key. And so, thankfully, my sister, shout out to Kalechi, she is a social worker too, and she's the one who kind of, I guess, nudged me in that direction, and I think it just panned out for the better. But we'll get into details about that.
I mean, you can go ahead and explain now. Like, we love hearing
what you
stories.
want to talk about? What you want
Yeah.
what what you want to talk
So
about.
how did you get into social work? Because was it something you always wanted to do, or did you just like have that change of heart after college, like Nina and I?
Yes.
You finish and you're like, yeah, you know what? The route I wanted to take isn't what I wanted to do.
Right.
So in reality, like in college, I kept telling myself I wanted to be an expert witness. So I was doing psych law, and I was learning about both legal systems as well as psychology. So because I wanted, I don't know, I just kind of wanted to be that person who's like able to look into the deeper elements of someone and someone's situation and assess that and come with some evidence-based practices and research about what that means.
Right.
So walking out of college, I was like, you know what, research is not for me. The statistics failed, tried it again, finally made it.
I hate statistics.
I hate it.
Oh my God.
statistics.
Like, I think I had dropped it like 3 times. Not with the W, but like I dropped it within like the first 4 days of class, like 2 or 3 times.
I wish I was smart like that.
Right, because I definitely took it, but I think it was required for my major.
It was
I didn't have a
required.
choice.
No,
I had to take it.
It wasn't required for me.
Yeah, because you were psych and I was neuroscience. If you guys don't know, Amauche and I, we went to the same college.
Oh, yeah.
UCR, you know, our side. And for our prereqs, we had to take a lot of math courses, and a lot of my neuroscience courses overlapped with psych courses. So I would take upper div psych courses during my like last years.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, but yeah, so I realized research just wasn't gonna happen for me. So I started researching other routes of, you know, how I can essentially be a doctor without having to get my PhD, because all PhD is research.
Yes.
And then dissertation.
And the
now
6 years of research.
And
and the dissertation sound like that would give me a heart attack. Like, the stress,
and it's like I think
drilling you.
PhD level jobs are also like limited too. Like there's not a huge market for PhD level jobs, because both my boss and one of my teachers was like, yeah, you don't need to do that.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Just
The
save your
field is
money.
definitely growing, but I mean, in my opinion, I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah.
So I started doing research, and then I started learning about PsyDs, and I realized that is essentially like a PhD, but more based upon experience as opposed to research. So I like that because I could get out in the field. And as I started looking at PsyDs, my sister asked me, what do you see yourself doing in the long run? And I told her, you know, that I would like to be the first line of contact for people, whether it's in a hospital or whether it's in a therapeutic setting. I just wanted to be that first initial contact, especially if someone's had like an assault situation or a domestic violence situation. Victims basically was my interest, hence wanting to be an expert witness.
Do you watch a lot of crime shows?
Yes, I grew up on Law and Order, bro.
I'm wondering like what sparked this, because I used to watch CSI Miami, Las Vegas, like all of them. Those are my shits. First 48 was my shit, and I originally, like at some point in my life, I wanted to be a crime scene investigator. And I was like, yeah, you know what? Like, I don't think I'm trying to see dead bodies. You gotta see people mutilated. You have to smell it. Like, and I already smell shit in the operating room. Like, and that's already the level that I think I can handle. Anything beyond that, I know I would get used to it, but initially I'm like,
I'm not trying to see people. I'm not trying to see my my mortality every day. Also.
And then when it's like, if it's a situation with kids,
my God.
I wasn't, when I was in undergrad, I even started looking at forensic psychology, and I was like, that sounds cool, until I realized that I go into like crime scenes, and I was like,
but I mean, I'm just like, it's something that a lot of people don't get to do in their life. Like, not a lot of people get to go in the operating room. I've seen people's brains, like, I've literally seen that. I've literally seen like spinal cords, everything, all the nerves. So it's like,
yikes.
To me, I just think about like the adventure in it a little bit, and that's what like would drive me to do it. But it's like these people that I see, they're still alive.
A doctor and then just kill people, but at the same time you get your license.
For about a certain amount, they started investing.
I mean, there are definitely cases out there of like nurses who have
they killed their patients. They were serial killers, and they go from like hospital to hospital, just killing patients. And they pick the patients precisely. Yes, they precisely pick the patients, so it's like, well, nobody will notice. Like, they won't think it's foul play
because like maybe the patient's already on their way out or something like that, and they just expedite the process.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I've seen
that's
like,
so ridiculous. That is so fucking crazy. What?
Have you seen anything crazy at your job? What's like one of the craziest experiences you have? Because I know you deal with psych patients that are like crazy? Like what type of patients do you deal with?
Thankfully, I don't yet. So I may like have to do an assessment with people who are having psychosis or something like that. I may do an initial assessment, but my hospital has a behavioral health unit, so and then, or if not, if I'm at the other hospital, then they have a whole pet team. So I just kind of come in and just check what like demographics and what you have at home, and then afterwards I'm like, all right, a therapist will be in for you sort of shortly. Nah, son. And I mean, I definitely took I forgot the name of the class, but I took a class basically about severe mental health issues, and it intrigued me, but just personally, I don't think I have enough knowledge yet to divulge into trying to help somebody. And so thankfully nobody's pushed me in that yet, because I have a lot to learn. You'd be freaking out. Exactly. I think just the thought has me stuttering.
Nurse, come here, help me.
Exactly.
She comes in and they're like holding your neck.
Nurses aren't gonna help. They are waiting for you to figure it out.
Go back.
I know, exactly.
Do you have a lot of black people at your hospital or no?
Yeah, of course. Are you like one of the 2 black people? There's like 5 people that are black.
Yeah. See, if I go to the main campus, then I am one of 2 black social workers.
Sounds about right.
Now, if I'm at my campus, I am the only black social worker.
Even better.
In fact, you know, I mean, there are black nurses, but like, I don't see many black people. Like, I can probably count it on one hand.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about
do you think there's a difference in how you get treated? Like,
I mean, but you probably wouldn't know because you've only been at you've just been at that hospital, right?
I've been at those 2 hospitals.
Those 2 hospitals.
For how long though?
Probably about 2 years now.
Yeah, and it's in a white populated area, so it's like harder to run into like black people.
I mean, you get every once in a while you get that token person who you know it's a racial thing.
Yeah.
But for the most part, people are surprised when I walk in, and not surprised as in negatively, but they're just like, they want to know so much. How, like, what do you do? What did you study? Oh my gosh, you have your master's? How old are you?
You look so young. It's like, don't crack, baby. Okay?
Exactly. And then as soon as I tell them, they're like, wait, so what is a social worker in a hospital? Next thing I know, I went from a 5-minute conversation to a 20-minute one, because now they just want to know about my life.
Are you supposed to keep the conversation short? I know like doctors are taught to keep their interactions short with their patient. Like when they're seeing them in the office, just for the sake of being able to see more patients in a day, do you, like, is there an average time you're supposed to spend with an individual?
I mean, I wouldn't say that when I was training, that they told me an average time, but yeah, ideally you want to keep it short. I would say if I gauge it, most of my conversations go maybe 7 to 10 minutes, and 10 minutes is kind of pushing it. Usually it's like 7 minutes. So a lot of times my length of conversation will depend on what your diagnosis is, how many needs I think you'll have, and how many patients I have on the floor. Because the campus that I mainly stay at, that fluctuates. I can come in one day and there's 28 patients, and I can come in another day and there's 8.
Jesus.
So if I have 8, I will take the time to make sure those 8 are completely set up. And then of course if I have 28, it's about prioritizing. If I know you're going to go home with no needs, then there's not that much for us to discuss. Of course, I'll still check with the physician to make sure everything's fine. But if you're coming in and you have all these comorbidities, then I'm going to have to dedicate that time.
Okay, explain what comorbidity is, because some people out there don't know. As in you. I'm like, I know what it is. Like a comorbid diagnosis or condition. Like, so you have diabetes. But you could explain it better because you work with it. Well, like in the mental health field, how does that play into the diagnosis?
So it plays in a lot. Like I had one patient who he had so many comorbidities. My documentation had to be impeccable. And so basically in the mental health field, a lot of times when you have comorbidities, you have something like chronic pain, and then you also have something like psychosis, bipolar disorder, whatever the case is, and then you might even have substance abuse on top of that. And then sometimes you even have a patient who's homeless on top of all of that. And then if you really have a sticky situation, they won't have insurance.
Oh yeah, my surgeons always ask me, what insurance does the patient have? They hate hearing IEHP. I'm gonna just put that out there right now. They hate hearing IEHP.
Sorry for those who have IEHP.
I mean, we're not, but in the financial realm of medicine, because medicine is a business, they do not like that form of insurance.
Because they don't make no money off
Yes,
it.
they do not get a lot of compensation.
So, well,
unfortunately.
Fuck them, they're rich.
Right?
Anyway, so
They don't have to worry about this shit.
Like,
and they're like doctors. They're like, I could diagnose my fucking self.
Right. It's like if they want to self-medicate, they'll self-medicate.
Yeah.
So now there's always been this big discussion, even amongst the people that we've talked to before we launched this podcast, about mental health in the Black community, and how, I mean, from my experience, I've just noticed that like Black people don't really embrace therapy as much as white culture has already embraced it, even though obviously not all white people are going to therapy, but it's like, it's taking a while for Black people to be like, having a therapist doesn't mean you're crazy.
Yeah,
having a therapist just means you want to work things out, basically.
Get better.
Yeah, you need help because you don't know everything about how the mind works. So how do you feel about the way mental health is treated in the Black community?
I mean, I think the way the mental health is treated in the Black community is a little skewed. My personal opinion, I think a lot of times, like mental health when it comes to the Black community, it's misunderstood. You know, someone's emotions can come off as aggressive, and I hate that term. Like
I was going to ask about that.
I get that word.
Yeah, I hate.
I'm always told I'm aggressive.
No, and I feel like it. You know, again, personal opinion. I feel like the word aggressive is so commonly used towards Black people, when in reality, what it is it's assertiveness.
Yeah.
A lot of people mistake Black people's assertiveness with aggression because they're intimidated. Your intimidation does not mean I'm being aggressive.
Right.
Exactly.
Hello.
No.
I get told that at work too, but it's like in the operating room, you kind of have to.
Of course.
I behave differently there, and like emotional cues, visual cues, like everything is different there because you have a mask on. So a lot of stuff is seen through the eyes and like the motions of your body. And I just noticed that like I'm more like rigid in the operating room, and like if it's either yes or no. I don't say nah, yes, maybe, kinda. You know, like it's either a definitive yes or a definitive no. And I know like sometimes when I do that, I just feel people like, why are you like that? And it's like, well, this is a person, like I have to make sure that I'm being, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I do not want you to misunderstand what I mean.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then sometimes like I'll answer and it's like matter of fact, and they're like, whoa, calm down. And I'm like, you guys.
You're like, I'm just being clear.
Yeah.
And we're women, so if you think about it, if it was a
Exactly.
white man saying it, it would just be a white man saying it. Since we're women, it's like, oh, she's supposed to be docile, but she's being assertive. Plus, she's Black, so let me add some anger on top of it. She's being aggressive.
And like, why are you talking back to the surgeon? No, he just understood something wrong.
Yeah.
And so I'm explaining to him like how it's supposed to be and like
for
how
the sake
it
of a
works.
patient's life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't let you lead on a lie because you want to be right and because people fucking bow at you.
Yeah.
I am not that individual.
That actually reminds me of something because I've been telling Ashley about that, how I'm sure you know the stereotype of how Black people are like angry.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's so common that I sometimes think it's some sort of like mental health issue. Like people, like my dad says, like people just say the man is keeping them down, and it's like that's where the anger is coming from. And it's like, I mean, you're kind of keeping your damn self
like
down.
you're not trying, you're not shooting your shot. You're quitting before you even try. When you say things like, "Oh yeah, the man is holding me back."
Exactly.
Fuck the man. Get out there, do what you need to do to get what you want. Like and a lot of people, I feel like think things are easy, so they don't. They don't put the effort into things.
And that's not to say that we aren't given a shorter stay.
We
definitely are.
Yes.
But at the same time, everybody's got to work for it.
Yeah.
Like, and you may not have the head start, but you could definitely reach the finish line first.
Catch up, yeah.
You could definitely get there first.
Yep.
I mean,
It's
look
just
at
a matter
us.
about your determination, your motivation, and of course your mental health, because that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, because I even remember, and probably at the times where I was like at my lowest, like I was not functioning.
Oh,
like, I was not doing
Laying
shit.
in bed,
I was just laying there like
exactly.
Yep.
Sad.
It's sad. You're really laying down like,
No, it's true.
I know I need to get up, but your body physically
You
won't.
can't. You can't.
I just want to smoke.
No, you
And
like,
I wanted to ask, how do you feel like substance abuse plays into mental health in the African American community?
I mean, I think it plays in a lot because I think, I think our community, we're so used to this sense of, I mean, we do have a sense of community, and I think that's how it gets masked. That's basically what I'm trying to say. Because a lot of times you can find opportunities to drink. You can find opportunities to use drugs. And you can use those opportunities as your scapegoat.
Yeah.
Because you can sit there and say, hey man, like, I'm pissed as hell, or I'm depressed, or I'm whatever. I just want to hit the club. Let me call some of my homies. And that's your excuse. Well, I got drunk because I went out. Well, how many times a week are you going out?
Yeah.
Right.
How often?
Yeah. and how much are you drinking each time? Like,
Yeah.
and that's a lot of times a question I ask patients, whether white, black, Hispanic, Asian, it doesn't matter. When I read on their chart, history of alcohol abuse, I ask them, my first question is, do you have a history of substance abuse? Or not even substance, I say, do you have a history with drugs or alcohol? And if they say yes, alcohol, I say, do you think it's problematic? They say no. I say, okay, how many drinks would you say you have in a week?
Is this that chart that you guys do on patients? It has an acronym and I forget what it's called. I saw it in like a patient's H&P one time.
Mm-hmm.
And it asked, do you ever drink to cure a hangover or just to get right in the morning? And it's like a series of questions to determine if you're alcoholic or not.
Yeah.
I've seen those charts. We personally don't use those. It's kind of just like our own personal investigation. But I've seen those charts. Like, for example, at one point, disclaimer, I did therapy. And so every day that I went into the psychologist's office, well, she was an MFT, but every single time I went into the MFT's office, I did have to do a chart like that.
What does MFT stand for?
MFT is a marriage and family therapist.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so they basically know similar
things. Yeah, they can do therapy too.
Yeah.
I think she was licensed. I don't know what the official license is, but they have to also take a board exam.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
so they would be certified for stuff like that.
So every single time I walked into her office, they have alcohol essentially.
Yeah.
I'm like, alcohol is nasty, man. Y'all are strong. Like, that y'all can
but
drink
that's
to feel
why their
better.
stomachs are messed up. They get secondary symptoms. Like, you'll get the redness right here if you've been an alcoholic for a long time. You could get jaundice.
I know someone.
Yeah.
Remember
pancreatic cancer.
Remember I be telling you, I know someone who literally drinks every single day.
The relationship
for the past like 6-7 months.
Yeah.
On Snapchat, there's a drink every single day.
Hopefully they get help.
They've already had.
They've had a problem.
They've had a major health issue, a major health scare, and
Yeah.
they're still drinking. And I'm just like,
that's when you know that it's a problem.
It is a disease.
It definitely is.
I used to be that person who's like, alcohol's not a disease. You can fix it if you want to. But after being like in the hospitals and seeing people like in tears, like with motivation to get better, and then you still see them the next month, like it is a real struggle. It's crazy.
Wow.
It's unfortunate.
alcohol is lit. Sorry.
That's
I looked at you so sideways.
I was just thinking, you can't bear that.
Did you hear how fast I said sorry?
And I like gave you such an unintentional side eye. I was like, what the hell?
Alcohol's lit. Sorry.
I checked that so quick. Like,
Sorry.
no.
Oh, that
You can't have that paired with this conversation.
Sorry, y'all. Sorry.
That was funny. My stomach hurts. That was funny.
God, Nina.
Sorry.
It's so Nina's trash right now. She just took that way into left field.
That's me, guys. But yeah, back to whatever we were talking about. Sorry.
I can't remember now because you fucked it up.
Do you think you can someone can have a dual diagnosis of mental health and like a lot of weed smoking?
Yeah.
I believe that because you know everybody functions differently. And
Exactly.
We witness it. Like we've had some friends that they started smoking weed and everything went out the window. Like their whole life was different after they started smoking weed. And
I smoke weed and I get A.
Right? Like it was literally like a downhill thing, and it was because they didn't know how to prioritize smoking weed and going to class and just living life. Like you can't let a substance become your life. Yeah. And I feel like that's like one of the main problems with getting it legalized because there's this certain set of people that don't know how to handle it.
Yeah, and then there's cancer patients.
Yeah, that need it.
I work at a cancer research hospital and they did not drug test me, and I was like, maybe it's because some of the patients are having to use weed, weed candies or whatever, weed tea, just to feel better from the nausea from all the chemo. And so it's like, there's the people who function really well, and there's people who function really well, and then there's people who like need it for cancer, and then there's people who are just burnouts.
Yeah,
because I can be honest, I remember like maybe my 3rd year of college, like literally wax dabbing at 6 a.m. in the morning, which everyone knows it's like next to crack.
Jesus. Like that one meme that I sent you. if you're smoking more than one blunt to get high, you're either smoking bullshit or your body's ready for crack. Yeah. That shit.
What?
Yeah. I died when I read that.
I'm like, so it's like next to crack, and then I would just go to physiology class and be like, oh yeah, my god, yes, that does that, and just writing.
Oh my god.
Nigga, I did so good in that class.
I have never had that experience, like smoking a wax dab before class.
Disclaimer, this does not mean to smoke.
No.
Yes, that's a necessary disclaimer.
People who know me knows my mind races. So weed actually slows me down to where I can focus.
When she texts me and she has questions,
my mind.
I'll be looking at my phone.
I sent you like 6 text messages. You sent me one. I was like, okay, I got 5 more questions.
Right?
I got 5 more.
I was so fucking annoyed.
And the funny thing is, like, as I'm sending all these questions, I'm just laying in bed, like.
I bet we can hear you.
That's me telling.
And I'm just sitting there like, she don't fucking stop. I'm like trying to focus on something.
We're super tan. Okay, so what do you think needs to change to make Black people acknowledge? Sorry, we guys were. I'm just gonna bounce.
We're
back
gonna return
full circle
because we can talk shit for a while.
Yeah.
So what do you think like the Black community needs to do to kind of start facing mental health issues? Because I personally feel like if we start facing it, a lot of the issues going on in the Black community won't be happening as frequently. Mm-hmm. Trump might not have been president. You know, like things could have been functioning better.
Black people. Okay, I feel like this is something that I don't agree with. It's kind of tangent-y, kind of not.
Yeah.
Is that if you go to jail and you have a felony, you can't vote. I feel like that is
Yeah, but they can after a while or something, because I know some people who have felonies who can't vote.
But it's still like you're basically telling them they're not human anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
And like I feel like that's that whole 3/4 human bullshit.
Yeah,
that
slave shit.
Yeah. So it's like the system didn't work. It may or may not have worked in their favor depending on what they did, because some of these motherfuckers is vile and they deserve to get the felony.
Yeah.
But it's like the system might have failed them, and now they don't have the right to vote on a system that already did them injustice, and they know this personally firsthand through experience. Yeah. And then you take that from them.
Yeah.
You know? And it's like, it could have been like one of those situations when you're in the car with the homie, he has a gun, you didn't know.
That does
happen.
That happened.
Y'all both you're equally in trouble for that.
Yeah.
And
unless you snitch.
Yeah. Right? But it's like, in that situation, I don't know how you snitch. Like, when he's like, oh yeah, I knew he had that shit. If you knew he had that shit and you didn't tell, and it's like linked to a fucking murder. You're a murderer. You're a murderer now.
You're a murderer,
yeah. So it's like, that's kind of fucked up that you can't vote on a system to like.
And mind you, when you go to prison, like people need to open their fucking eyes how shitty the prison system.
They don't give a fuck.
That causes mental health issues in itself.
Of course.
Do you think it's associated with like PTSD most likely when they get out of prison?
Yeah.
Or
that's my personal thing. I mean, it could be a multitude of things. It could be depending on who you are in the prison. You know, because it could be a sense. You could be exactly. That's what I was just saying. It could be a sense of gang mentality. You know, or if you were just a person just trying to fly under the radar, it could definitely be a sense of PTSD. Because even if let's say nothing even happened to you, nobody touched you, no one got physical with you, no one got aggressive with you, you still have people coming in and out who may be treating you sideways, making you get anxious. And it's this sense of, I also think that within the prison system, unless you have a strong mind, you come out with a sense of helplessness. Like it's learned helplessness. Yeah. Because they literally sat there, No,
I'm thinking of that show, what was it called? It was on HBO, and it was like about the guy that went to jail for he like blacked out and woke up, and the girl was dead that he had spent the night with. Oh shit. And so he panicked, ran out the house, took the fucking knife. So he went to jail, and like he had this long trial, and he was like this young ass boy. He started slinging drugs in jail. He got tattoos. Like he started like fucking his lawyer after his lawyer got fired. Serious? Like he was wild, and he was smuggling drugs and shit into the prison. Yeah. And like, he finally got off because he kept saying like, I can't remember, I don't know what happened, we took drugs, I blacked out, I woke up, she was dead, I don't know what happened. There was another guy, he was like a suspect. Yeah. Pure point blank, he probably did this shit to kill her, right? Right. And they put him in, the other guy in jail, his name was like Nasir, and he gets out of jail, he's a crack addict now, he has depression, it seems like, because he's like stressed about this girl, like, because he liked her. Yeah. Didn't know what happened to her or how she died, but she's dead now. Yeah. So it's like there's definitely mental health issues associated with getting out of prison. I really just thought I need to look it up because I need to know what it's called.
Yeah, we're gonna find that.
No, I mean I think it's definitely true. I don't think anybody. I mean not anybody, but I think it would be very difficult to go into such a like strict and constricted environment such as a prison system, even though obviously there's leeway because people can get away with doing things like smuggling drugs, but there's still this sense of, there's a study, if only I can remember the study, there was even a study where they took regular students, had some of them as police officers, had some of them as prisoners.
In college.
What's that?
Exactly.
Something experiment.
Yeah.
Stanford experiment?
Stanford experiment, yeah.
Yeah.
And even that shows, because that was a fake jail system.
Yeah.
Everybody knew coming in this was not real life.
Yeah.
And they still were treating, like they still came to this certain mentality.
Yeah.
A power.
Exactly, a power hierarchy. And after that, everybody needed therapy. Like, and if that's a situation you're walking into knowing that it's fake. Can you imagine if you're walking into it?
It's real. And it's like, even going back, like, because a lot of the things that affect the black community today came from slavery.
Yeah.
And I know that white slave masters or slave owners used to separate, like, they broke down the black family because they're trying to break us down and make us feel weak so that they can continue to control us. So they actually separated the dads from the family so that they didn't have that structure, they didn't have that two-parent household.
Exactly.
And I think it's basic, and imagine how bad the mental health problems were with black people back in the slavery days, or the generation after the slavery days. It's like, I think it's just a trickle down to where that's why there's men now leaving their kids, because that's what their dad did and that dad did, and that, because some dads ago they were forced out of the family, and then, you know, they don't see the importance of being there because their dad wasn't there.
Exactly.
So I think it's like, it's definitely like, I feel like white people are like, you guys always blame everything on slavery. Like, no, you guys.
It's just not that far away. Isn't Ruby Bridges like only 70?
Yeah, they're still
like so 62 years ago is when she attended the first integrated school. I just saw this article.
That's
online.
recent, you guys.
Listen, at the end of the day, I'm gonna keep blaming things on slavery until we stop having people like the KKK and companies waving their flags.
Yeah.
When that stops, y'all can hear me.
People stop being
racist. Until then, I'm not stopping.
Do you think?
Say it again for the people in the back.
Do you think that, like, I kind of feel that also, that slavery stuff is tied into, like, black relationships too, because you see what I see, and I'm sure everyone else sees it, you see mostly black men venturing out to other races, because back in the slavery days, they had to work the hardest because they were black men. Plus, they couldn't fuck the slave owner's wife, even though some of them were fucking the slave owner's wife.
because she liked it.
And they were having those mulatto babies back then. It's like, I feel like that also ties into black relationships, to where black men sometimes feel like, to be at a higher status, they have to be with a non-black. Don't be with the slave-colored woman.
No, exactly.
Be with the free-looking
honestly,
woman.
it's slave mentality. That's all it is. Because it's the situation of the house nigga versus the field nigga.
Yeah.
And so if you see, you know, a lot of, at least within the black community, that's why a lot of dark-skinned women get upset, because they're like, are you dating these other races just because you like them?
Or do you
but
want
if you're saying
kids?
something, if you're saying something like, I want mixed kids, I want long hair, don't care, I want light skin, all that is slave mentality. It's like, that's all it is. Because if your race wants a dark-skinned man, so it's not a matter of most cases are a matter of self-hate anymore. What it is they have the pick of the crop.
Yeah.
They get to decide, and at the end of the day, let's be real, most black men know that their black woman will always be down for them. So if they want to run around, and if they want to play games, and if they want to holler at this, that, and the other, and the third, and nothing works out, then they know they can still turn around and
fall back
from a black woman.
Fall back in.
And I've heard that from a black man voice himself.
Jesus.
So
Do you still talk to that nigga? You need to block his number.
No, he was more so providing knowledge and information.
Oh, okay.
So I respected that. I was like, let me know.
Stay telling me to block someone.
My block game is strong.
She showed me her block list.
That shit was long as fuck. I don't care.
You need to block them. You need to block them.
You pissed me off like 2 times.
I'm gonna block you.
Dang. My life is so smooth. My life is smooth. So I got enough bullshit to deal with.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's very true.
It's like, I kind of feel like, okay, also there's a lot of like, we went through being young and dark skinned. Now we're older, and so now we're like, I'm fine as hell. But it's like, we went through being young, and it's like, it's for people who are younger who are listening to this, you shouldn't be under the age of 18 listening to this. But for those who are under the age of 18 or even 18, because 18 is still pretty young, we're still young. That's why we call this young and getting it. Some people think 25 is old. It's not. It's not.
My shit barely together.
Barely. Okay, my egg's popping. Like, ovaries ain't dried up yet. So it's like,
You're dumb.
It's like, but I just feel like there's a lot of people who, like, especially being dark skinned, they're still in the face of like, oh, this guy doesn't like me, and oh my god,
Fuck
this guy
him.
doesn't like me. You guys, fuck him. You know why?
Fuck him.
Because maybe from my personal experience, it's like the more people who like doubt you, the better you're gonna be. So just let these the more people who doubt you, the better you're going to be, because that doubt is a motivation. Please don't take that doubt and be like, well, I ain't shit. So
Yeah, don't ever
shit.
believe some bullshit.
When
from
someone
somebody
tells you ain't shit, then be shit. And then because they're so busy
Pull the Cardi B.
they're so busy, right? They're so busy telling you ain't shit that they ain't shit. So then when you're shit, people are looking at me like, oh, I didn't think you were gonna turn out like that. Let me just throw motherfucking money in your face, bitch.
Right, and then why do you have the time?
It's the devil.
To tell me I'm not shit.
For those that aren't
the
religious,
fuck is you doing?
For people who aren't religious, it's negative energy. But for people who are, that's fucking devil. The devil works through people to try to bring negativity.
It's like, and if you're African, like me and Nina here, then you know the catchphrase is "the devil is a lie."
The devil,
that's what every African I've known. Anytime they hear something false, they say the devil is a lie.
The devil is a lie. It's like when you grow up and you grow up to be like a beautiful dark skinned woman, because for every dark skinned woman you're going to grow up to be a beautiful dark skinned, because we're dark skinned, that's why. You kind of learn to like, my philosophy is you shouldn't even like somebody that doesn't like you. Cool, you could think he's cute, you could be like, oh, he's cute, whatever. This nigga doesn't like you. He ain't shit.
Exactly.
But if his personality trash, he probably ugly.
If his personality
he
is
could
trash,
be fine as fuck, but if your personality is trash
and looks fake,
and these niggas is lazy, they're gonna be fat later. So don't be sitting here sweating.
Right.
The ones who have all those standards about what a woman should look like, she should do this, she should do that, is a no shit ass nigga.
Someone who's gonna sit on your couch for
Appreciate the guy who actually appreciates you, because he's seeing through all the bullshit. You should appreciate those. The ones who don't like you, you shouldn't be sad about that shit. Let the hoes have them.
And speaking from experience, honestly, since we're trying to come from a place of, providing confidence for young women, it's like so pivotal. No matter whether you're dark skin, light skin, whatever, it's so pivotal that you find things to appreciate about yourself. Because I didn't learn this until later in life, and it's funny because even though I live in a primarily white community, and as I said before, I am like the only black social worker, definitely the only black person on my floor, unless some nurses float in, then I learned being at that hospital actually made me appreciate myself more. I used to get made fun of for my skin, my name, my hair, everything up under the sun. When a sister says she had self-confidence issues, I'm not joking. I showed up at my hospital. Granted, I have a new sense of self by myself on my own already. But coming in and telling people, hi, I'm Amauche. I'm your case manager. I basically help coordinate things as the medical plans unfold in terms of your discharge. What's your name again? Amauche. And I'm bracing myself for the negativity. Amauche? That's such a beautiful name. It sounds French. It sounds Italian. I'm like, holy shit, my name is beautiful.
French.
Okay. All right. And then I find myself, now this is probably my corny self anyways, I find myself trying to play along. I'm like, well, Nigeria is next to Cameroon. In Cameroon, they speak French. So maybe
it derived from my ancestors.
Exactly.
And it means God something.
It means who knows God's will.
Okay,
So, and then, hearing people, I walk in and before I can even open my mouth, oh my gosh, you're so beautiful. Look at you, your skin. And I'm sitting here like, let me look at my skin. What you mean?
Today?
What you mean?
Is I got the Fenty on today?
I know, right?
Is it the Fenty Beauty?
I think it's the Fenty.
It might be the Fenty.
Rihanna out here, boom.
Seriously.
Maybe it's me. Maybe it's the Fenty.
Exactly. But that's that, and I feel like any black person can side with the fact that we may get made fun of as kids, but it seems like at some point in our life all that shit changes, and all of a sudden everybody loves us, and all of a sudden nobody has negative things to say. So if you just bear in mind that is just down the road,
that's just a period.
I feel like it's them being fake. Like when you're younger, they want to be you.
They want to shoot you down.
Yeah.
Well, it's like
to make you feel less than them because they realize you're better.
Especially for Nigerian kids, like I feel like our parents put homework so like pivotal. So it's like we had good grades. Like we always had good grades. We were always smart. Like we never doubted that. And it's like people really hate on you for being smart. It's like
they do.
But the thing is, like, especially for those who haven't gotten to the point to where they're working and making a whole bunch of money, and you're still in school and you're still struggling, you're still broke. First of all, we were all broke at one point. Like I said,
not too long ago.
Like I said,
just found my way.
Okay, like it's very recent. Like you're looking at these people and their parents are buying all their shit for them, so they think they're better than you. But then you turn around and when it's time for everyone to live on their own, you have your own shit. They don't have shit. Now they're trying to be cool with you. Women, listen to me. Especially dark-skinned women, especially women who have gone through bullying. Listen to me. You're going to be better than them.
Yeah.
Like you will. Like that's it.
Hang tight,
Period.
I
mean, yes, that's why we want to tie mental health with it, because it's like you do need to take care of your mental health, because mental health will make you crash.
It will get in the way of everything.
Yeah.
And there are so many different outlets for it. I mean, speaking from someone who got made fun of in and out, day in, day out, and my own personal mental health was an issue, hence why I wanted to work with victims.
Yeah.
It's so necessary because I mean, let's be real. Let's just be really real, because that's the point of this podcast.
It's exactly the point.
I reached a point in 8th grade, I wanted to kill myself.
Right.
You know, and if I think back now and I'm like, man, if I had went through with that, I would not be here doing what I do now.
Yes.
I would not be here now living in my own place. Living in
mocha chip.
With my little mocha chip. That's my puppy. I have a puppy.
We're gonna take a picture of her. We're gonna put her on the post because she's cute as shit.
Yeah, she's really cute.
But mind you guys, Amauche's 26.
Yes.
She's 26.
26 and popping.
26.
Yeah.
We're in her house.
Yeah.
You like say it again.
We're in her house.
So, but that's my whole thing. Like I think back and I'm like, I'm just glad that as much as I hated it, and I realized that not everybody has this, but my mom would force me into the library. Like I would literally, granted, I know now my mom's taking us to the library so she could study because she was trying to get herself up.
Yeah.
But you know, I just didn't want to go. So I would literally wander the library, just doing whatever until she was ready to go. And I happened to stumble across a poetry book, and from that day forward, I was writing poetry, and it to this day is still my outlet.
Yeah.
And so I find myself overwhelmed writing down poems.
Yeah.
And if I personally believe if it wasn't for those poems, I probably wouldn't be here today.
Yeah. It's
So
like some sort of outlet, like people who journal and they say
that's what I do.
People who dance.
Yeah.
Like, my outlet is smoking weed.
Oh god. I like going to the gym.
I mean,
the gym is great.
I think your outlet is dancing too.
My outlet is definitely dancing, and
I like drawing, but it's like I never have the time for it. When I texted you last night, I was like, "Oh, Nina, can I call you? Like, it's like something important. Like, let me call you." And she's like, "Yeah, I'm rolling a blunt." I was like,
"Yeah, I ain't doing shit. I'm rolling a blunt. I'm on the cell phone." Man, we good, man. I promise I'm doing my homework, y'all. We out here.
She out here successful.
When I graduate, y'all, I'm gonna post on the Yagi, the Youngin' Gettin' It podcast, YAGI_podcast, Yagi podcast. I'm gonna post my diploma in a blunt.
Oh god.
And I'm gonna be like, yee. I'm just gonna, like those litty ass faces. You can do it. Just don't become a
prioritize that shit.
Prioritize.
Because like my freshman year of college, I don't know how I survived.
I definitely blew my brains out smoking with Ashley.
I can't do that. I can't do that.
Definitely was like
die.
hallucinating.
Yeah, I was not your normal undergrad.
Yeah,
freshman.
you did not.
Like, that was crazy.
Like undergrad in high school, like I mean,
my school was also like 2.4% white, black. I mean, so all my blackness was at y'all school.
And we would come to Fullerton on the weekends and get underage drinking too.
Oh yeah, we were not. Remember Bacardi Gold, Jesus?
Oh
my God! How were you drinking that? Oh, I forgot about bring my Patron. We could have been drinking. It's all right though. But I know we went on a tangent,
but
so how about we like wrap it up, but we all wrap up like our point when it comes to this discussion of like mental health and taking care of yourself and black relationships, black love and friendships, not just like relationships. How would you want to wrap up, or the theme that you want to give to the audience that is
or just
today?
Some of the most important advice you could give for what you feel passionate about.
For the millennial community trying to become successful.
Yeah.
I think first and foremost, if I address the black health aspect or the mental health aspect of things, I think it's very important, especially among the black community. If you find, and I'm learning this myself, like this is something I literally just came to within the past like 3 weeks. If you find yourself in a situation with someone who may be depicting emotions of frustration, anger, you know, if they're being a little volatile, whatever the case is, don't just automatically assume that they're just an angry person. Don't just automatically, don't take it personal. Don't make it about you and about the disrespect and about this, that, and the third. Don't do that. take a second and open that door of communication. Say, hey, bro, like, how are you doing? Like, are you good? Because what I'm hearing is, I'm hearing your anger. What I'm hearing is, I'm hearing you raise your voice at me. And what I'm hearing is, like, something ain't right. And I want to know, like, is this really about me? Or do you have something else going on that I need to do? Are your friends good? Are you good?
Be a good friend,
Are
basically.
you happy?
Be a good
Exactly.
person.
You know?
Because I think within the Black community, I think even though we are a community, there is this sense of self. And I think there is this sense of, you ain't gonna disrespect me, bro.
Yeah.
And I think with that, we oftentimes miss the opportunity for actual real discussion.